And Leon's going to try a fake. It's a fake. Right out there is Singleton. Made the catch at the 20. Singleton breaks 2 tackles and scores a touchdown. Left side, Brown trying to get around the corner. Does. Dives for the pylon. And he's in. Too big, too strong.
Dumped it to his right. Broken tackles, 2 of them. Up the right side. Into Gators territory. Into field goal range.
Snap, hold, kick. Good!
Oh, that was my favorite part right there. It has been a wild couple weeks to start the season for the University of South Florida football team. 2 ranked wins, and now they bull rush from the Gainesville swamp to Miami. And joining us now, amidst all this madness, head coach Alex Golesh. Coach, bring us up to cloud 9 or whatever level your assistants were on the other night after the win. I mean, I could see all the preparation coming to fruition and the smile on your face afterward as well.
Yeah, you know what? I spent a long time being up in the box and waiting to get down. Those guys actually got stuck in the elevator until we were already in the locker room. But been there, done that, and it's that's a cool feeling waiting to get down and see your guys. But you know what? It's obviously a really cool moment for our program, a really cool moment for our players. I can't help but think about the former players that really was for. But ultimately, we got back Saturday evening and then Sunday morning woke up with an opportunity to go play Miami. So whatever happiness you had, whatever you were excited about, you had to clean it up really, really quick and get ready to get going.
Coach, speaking of cleaning things up, what was the cultural shift that needed to happen, you knew that needed to happen once you took this job?
Yeah, I think you feel like you have an idea going in, but until you really get here and get going, you really have no idea. It's certainly different than what I thought in some ways, probably better in some ways than I thought, and certainly tougher in some ways than I thought. But walked into a situation that had 4 wins in 3 years and hadn't been to a bowl game since 2018, and I think was really just looking for somebody that could really build this thing into a sustainable program. I think the one thing that made this job unique 2.5 years ago is the commitment that from the top and from our chairman of our board, and Will Weatherford, all the way down through the president, through the administration, athletically here, they said, man, we're ready to draw a line in the sand, and we're going to build a football stadium right out here. We're going to build the nicest operations building that maybe in the country. And then we're going to fund this thing to where you can go hire whoever you need to, build a recruiting department the way you need to, build a player development department the way you need to, and support these guys. And I had a vision for how it needed to be done. And they literally said, do it the way you got to do it. And I know the question was about a cultural shift, but when you walk into a situation like that, and I've been fortunate enough, this is my 5th time being a part of a year one, and for whatever reason, the good Lord's blessed me with coming into situations and being a part of coming into situations that weren't elite at the time. And I've seen it. I've been a part of it. I've been knee deep and a part of and a part of building of a foundation into something, and we truly had to start from scratch. I think that's the part that was so intriguing about this job, is you had the opportunity to start from scratch. They were going to give us time to go do it. And ultimately you're in Tampa, Florida at a AAU school with 53,000 students. That's 28 years old in terms of the football program. You were going to be able to do it however you wanted to do it. And I give our administration a lot of credit for allowing us to do that.
Coach, you alluded to your various stops. Is there one coaching principle that fuels your approach that you have used, that you got from all those different stops?
I think if I learned anything over the years, even going back to I started out as a high school coach, is if you're going to build something, and truly build something sustainable, build something for the long haul, you've got to have a process-driven approach to this. And you've got to be able to create a process, set standards within that process. And that's in every aspect of our program, certainly from how we do things day to day to how our players learn and create sustainable habits as they go. But the ability to be process driven rather than result driven, and truly being able to be bought into a process without being emotionally attached to the end result. Because if you aren't, you're going to ride waves of success, of failure, success, and failure, and never really have a true foundation. And so for me, having a process-driven program and a process-driven culture, and that's coaches, support staff, and certainly the players. And as they come in as young guys, learn, grow, develop, and hopefully have older guys that could teach them the way. I think that's probably the one thing I learned over the years is when you walk into a situation that hadn't had a lot of success, there's generally not a bunch of older guys to point to. And so you've got to develop those and build those up. And over time, you have a chance to flip it. But I've always said this, and I truly believe this. I think that's why bad programs stay bad and good programs stay good, because there's constant examples of what real process, what real habits look like.
And you've got over 30 seniors on this team right now enjoying where this process has taken them. In fact, you were so ahead in trusting that process, your players were, that you had suddenly all this time to kill at the end of the game when you're setting up the winning field goal. But at the same time, you're like knocking on the door of the end zone too. Could you kind of compare and contrast like where your pulse was at with where your clock management was at? Because you had to still, kill some clock to have that field goal in the perfect spot.
Yeah, I think really twofold. We ended up in that situation with one timeout. We had to burn a timeout on a guy cramping up on an extra point. And with the new rule, the way it is, the ball was already spotted. He was more mad at himself than anybody about having to use the timeout. And then we took the timeout on defense right at the 2:43 mark to be able to have essentially make them run a play, get a stop, and still be able to get a play in before the 2-minute warning. So we were left with one. The way we operate offensively, the 2-minute drills really are really, really similar to operationally to what we do offensively. So the play selection is different and the thought process is different, but our operation stays the same. And so when you got just over 2 minutes with a 2-minute warning in there with a timeout, that actually feels like you could probably get 2 drives in. But once we got a chunk play on the screen and we knew we were in field goal range, we've got, if not the best kicker, one of the best kickers in the entire country. And you knew you were in field goal range with still time to go. We put it in the hands of the one guy that you wanted in the hands of, and that's Byum. And literally it was going to be him. And if he was going to score, great. The last thing I wanted to do was kick the ball off again. But ironically enough, we were on the last play before we kicked the field goal. We were on the left middle hash. We had to run a play, and they had taken a timeout. And so we were gonna run Byum and had a quarterback design run, and literally we were on the left middle. I said, Byum, if you go past the middle of the field, I'm gonna be so mad at you. The furthest you go 2 yards to the right, he literally went one more step to the right, he would have walked in the end zone. It was blocked up about as perfectly as it can be. But in true Byum fashion, I said no further than the middle of the field, and he literally put his foot in the ground, middle of the field, put his head down, and got it down the 3-yard line there.
There you go. Coach, we are out of time, but we have to do one last thing with you. Whichever hand you normally do it with, I need to see your Go Bulls compared with BJ's Hook 'em Horns here, just to see, is there any difference? Is there any difference?
Nope.
Nope. There you go.
It's the same. It's the same, Coach. Hook 'em.
It's the same. Go Bulls, baby.
Love it. All right, good luck against Miami, Coach Golesh, and thank you for your time.